Hi, I'm Dan Whittaker. I'm here today to talk to you about the pivot action in the golf swing. Now, the pivot action in the golf swing is an area that's a lot of different people tend to talk about. There's a lot of misconceptions and two very distinct different schools of thought with it. We've got one where we're talking about turning into the right side, and one that requires turning over the right side. Now, the two come from very different camps. One requires a whole load of lateral motion to try and get yourself over your front pivot point and over the left side. The other one requires just simply to unwind what you wound up now. I personally am a bigger proponent of the one where you don't have to have a whole bunch of driving and lateral motion to get yourself over your front pivot point, so then you can much quicker be able to turn around to release the golf club. The one when you're having to turn over to then get yourself back to the golf ball, I'm not a big fan of that. It's been very evidenced and been used a lot by Ledbetter and some of his students, and you would see it, a big proponent of it would be a Jimmy Ballard. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish trying to show you guys the main differences with the two, where the pivot point is, how the hips turn, where the weight moves, and where the pivot point actually is, and then try and highlight the differences and how this relates to what you'd be able to do then coming into impact. Now, first of all, we'll have a look at how the hips are going to move and where the weight moves on both pivots. So first of all, we'll highlight the hips with this little orange rod. We'll slide that through the belt loops here, and this is going to signify the angle of the hips for us and shows how they turn. Secondly, let's slide this over me. This is a little yellow stick, and we'll be able to show what the shoulders are doing from here. So we've got two different colours to highlight the angles with which we're going to be able to turn on. Now, if I take hold of my nicely oversized golf club here, now what we're going to be able to see is that once I'm in my address position here, okay, first of all I'm going to use the guys who use the turning over the right side. They won't be, very few of them will have the hips and the shoulders lined up in this way like I would be proponent of. There'll be a little bit more here with level hips. Now, from there it's going to require some form of motion from one to the other to align their spine up, because the spine has to be lined up to start with an address to allow yourself just to turn biomechanically, or you have to do something to line it up. So, say the hips are level here and the shoulders are on an angle, the first thing that I'm then going to be seen doing is I'm going to have to turn over the right side. So you see that the left pole is over the outside of my right foot. My weight's gone distinctly over that side, and the hips have laterally shifted across this way. Now from here, this is what a lot of people talk about, a weight transfer in the back. You've transferred your weight across to move it back across to release it and come around. Now, yes, that does work. I'm not saying it's not. There have been major champions that have swung the club like this, have come through, have gone at the club, gone at the ball in such a manner, but it's not going to be the most consistent, reliable way. It's definitely not a pivot action that was used by Ben Hogan, and is definitely not one that's going to be used by my students and by people who I consider to swing the golf club the best and be up there as being the best ball strikers. The guys that you see who will win some weeks but a little bit sketchy ball striking, but also will maybe struggle for consistency, maybe hit one right, hit one left, not finding the centre of face reliably, are the ones who are moving off it to try and get back to it. This has got too many moving parts for my liking. The second way of setting up, my personal favourite, is to have the hips and the shoulders lined up here, both of which are at 90 degrees to the spine. Now, from here, what I can do is I can wind up. So you'll see my left shoulder has turned over the inside of my right thigh. You can hear my breathing, but this is quite hard work as I'm stretching my muscles across my diaphragm. My weight has gone onto the inside of my right heel, and my weight is still on the instep of my right foot, while my hips have turned back as much as they physically can, and the shoulders have made a very deep turn. Again, you will see that these are lined up at address, and I'm simply winding up, my left shoulder stretching across on my spine, my sternum has turned to the right, and the hips have turned back, and the weight has gone into the inside of the right heel, and the hip has the butt has gone back very deep. From down the line, this can be viewed this way. I get myself set up. I'll just see if I can line myself up a little better for you guys here. Okay, now if I just kind of wind this back, you'd see here how deep this is. Yet with this turn, my arms can stay in front of my body very, very easily. Now, the problem that I often see associated with turning over the right side as opposed to into. Over is the first one that I demonstrated, and into is what I demonstrated I like. The over move, where you see level here and a lot of movement across, I tend to see a steeper arm swing and a disconnection with the right elbow from the side. When I see going into the right side, so from the address position, the right hip's gone backwards, I see the elbow stays down and in front of the body, and the arms are much shallower. They're in front of the body, because we're playing golf in front of us. Because it's not getting behind, it's staying in front. It makes it much easier to deliver it on the arm via the body. Now, because of the way that I'm going to be set up here, where the hips and the shoulder are on the same line, I can wind up very deep, and then all I have to do is make a transfer and release the stretch via the left hand side, boom over the left side, and around I go to the finish. Now the pivot is very important. These are the two different schools of thought that I'm talking about. From here now in my wound up position, where I've made my deep turn with my arms in front, all I'm going to do is make a weight transfer over my left side. I can simply unwind around, allowing myself to deliver the club from the inside. From here you'll see with this deep turn, my space for my arms here in front of my body, my right elbow's in front of my right hip, can then be delivered. When I've gone over, if they're in front here, I drive, the chances are I'm going to have to get stuck behind me. So a steeper arm swing, when you've moved across, simply gives your arms a chance to drop in as I drive back. I then generally would tend to see a lot of people as they drive, they'll back out and be more down the line through the golf ball. The guys that are getting it like I want, much deeper here, where the tailbone's gone towards the target, elbow's gone on the hip, hands and arms are in front, head being delivered from the inside, simply allow the butt to swing around because there's all this space as the left side of the body opens, flung through to the finish right here. But the golf swing then becomes much closer to being wind up, unwind, like this, as opposed to drive and then have to back out whilst the club is also going down the line, which, as we just see now, I think this is going to be much more difficult for us to square the golf club with. It's definitely not going to be as reliable for us, and the club's never moving on a continuous arc, which is what I want it to do, because we're swinging in an inclined plane, so naturally there's going to be a circle from inside back to the inside. It's not going to be straight and straight. Not what I'm seeing anyway, and definitely not what I'd be wanting my students to do. Now, a big thing for us here is this, okay? I'm just going to slide myself inside this little hula hoop here, and the stick here is going to represent my spine and touch the top of my turning point, which is on the base, which is in between my shoulder blades, okay? It's a very significant point. It's where the top of my spine, the top two sections of my spine, is where they meet. That's my turning point. It's the point in a golf swing I never move off, okay? If I'm set up with my hips level here, and I'm on the turning point then, I'm either going to have to slide off it to get my body lined up like so, or let my hips go, and myself in a slight reverse pivot to allow the spine to be lined up. If I get myself in the address position here, where the right hip's low, the shoulders and the hips are lined up like we saw before, now what I'm going to then do is turn the right hip back, okay? So the hips turned back, created the space for the arms here, the weight's gone into the heel, the tailbone has gone towards the target, and my back is still on the turning point. I then make a weight transfer over my left side, create my secondary axis tilt, where my hips become more angular. See, I go deep, this creates secondary axis, still on the turning point, around here, and then off to the finish. Is the only time I move off the turning point is after impact. Now, if I start off with a bad address position here, I go this way, you see I'm off the turning point already. I then have to drive, check back on it, and back out of the shot here to try and save it. This turning point is the key. If I start on the turning point, I simply get deep, still on the turning point, guys, still on it now, it's impact. That is the key. We've got to get yourself set up correctly with the hips and the shoulders lined up together. This will then allow us to make this deep turn that we're after without the light need of lateral motion from side to side. Then we get deep, make the weight transfer across using the stretch from the left side. We're going to be very quick to get back over the left side, as we've seen there. We're going to be turning deep this way, so it appears that my right butt cheek is going closer to the target. It's not just a very deep turn. Then, boom, I'll allow myself to let go of that stretch and really come through with some tremendous club head speed. If I really wind this one up now for you guys here, you can see I'm right deep into the heel, and I'm really unwound right around with some speed right through to the finish. I hope you've enjoyed this discussion on the pivot, and if you have any inquiries, please email me at danwhitaker@btconnect.com. Until next time, hope you keep enjoying your golfing, and I will speak to you soon.